Hey everybody, welcome this evening to our webinar. My name is Jessica Sims. I am our event manager here at Compass Mortgage, and I am joined by Caleb and Brandon from Compass and South Shore Tax Services Solutions, excuse me. So we're going to talk a little bit this evening about their services and offerings to folks like yourselves who are part of a union. So we'll go through, some things there, and then follow up with a Q&A portion. So any questions that you have, you are more than welcome to put them in the chat box, and we'll cover all of those at the end. So with that, Caleb and Brandon, go ahead.
All right. Hey, everyone. So my name is Caleb Jennings, and I'm with the Union Strong Mortgage Program, Kambs Jennings Group of Compass Mortgage, and I want to welcome you here today. I'm excited because I'm with Brandon Ward, who's with South Shore Tax Services, who's also one of your fellow UAW members, who's going to talk to you about some of his tax services. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Brandon, and then maybe we could talk a little bit about what sort of offers you have for the membership and services you provide, and then we could talk a little bit about what I do.
Excellent. Thanks, Caleb. My name is Brandon Ward. I'm the founder of South Shore Tax Solutions. I am also a member of United Auto Workers Local 588. I serve as a trustee over there on the executive board. I'm also a millwright by classification. I went to school for accounting before I got into Ford, and found a pretty good home there. And over the years, some of my coworkers found themselves with some tax issues and looking for somebody who can help them with taxes without having to pay H&R Block, $200, $300, $400 for a simple return. So I started helping, local members just at 588. And past couple of years, we've slowed down a little bit in our plant, so I've really focused on growing. We're growing pretty fast this year. I've been getting a lot of new client calls, doing a lot of marketing on Facebook and such, networking with other people like Caleb here, and just trying to, let people know what kind of offers I have, especially for union members. And I'll go right into it. My primary offer for union members is 50% off tax services. My base rate starts at 150, so half of that, 75. We do a little bit of an upcharge for some particular forms. One of them is the 8867, which is the due diligence checklist for all the refundable credits. Basically, it's just a form that forces me to certify that I've reviewed each client and asked the proper questions and retain the proper documentation to take those credits. And there's a couple other ones, but for the most part, union members, you can come through and file, and really you won't expect to have to pay over 120 bucks for a return, unless you got a side business or something, and we have to do some more really complex stuff. So I offer an in-person appointment option or a remote option. The remote option I really built in this year because COVID really slowed me down last year big time. Wasn't sure what we were going to do this year as far as taking in-person appointments, so I went through the process of setting up a client portal and really kind of making things a lot more easy on the digital end. So I can file a tax return for anybody who is local or anywhere else in the country. I don't do international returns. I only do US returns. So anybody here in the United States, I can get in touch with you over the phone and through my client portal, get all the documents, perform the signature, and even review form by form what's going on with your tax situation. I also offer a reduced price on my audit protection. That covers any kind of issues on my end, or any time that the IRS would request more information. Sorry about that. More information about your particular tax return. It does not cover errors and omissions on the part of the taxpayer, I do want to say. So when we file with people, we do ask that you give us all the correct information. So other than that, what can you tell us about Compass Mortgage, Caleb?
Yeah,
What services do you offer? What kind of
yeah.
discounts?
Thank you, Brandon. That's awesome. So you're saying 75 bucks for union members for a simple tax filing, 75 bucks is what you said, basically?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So basically, the Union Strong Mortgage Program is a program that we created to offer discounts to union members. And for how this became a thing was that our company, Compass Mortgage, had a program for corporations, discounts for corporations to give to their employees. And I talked to our CEO, and I have a union background, union family. I said, well, what if we did something for union members? And he was really cool with that. So what we've done is we've created this Union Strong mortgage program where we give discounts to union members. And how this works is that when you buy a home, everyone knows there's a down payment. Okay, so how much is my down payment? And down payments, it depends on what you're buying. If you're going to do a conventional mortgage, you could put as little as 3 to 5% down. If you're doing an FHA mortgage, you put 3.5% down. Now, everyone understands, okay, I need a down payment. But often what people don't realize is that there's also closing costs. So when you buy a home, there's a down payment and there's closing costs. And closing costs can be another 2%. I mean, they could be thousands of dollars. So what we do is we offer credit towards those closing costs to help mitigate those costs for you. Anywhere from 500 to thousands of dollars we give. It's a minimum of $500, but for some it's more. So what we do is we work with you, we'll work with your realtor to make sure that we can get rid of those closing costs for you. So our objective is to try to help you get into a home or a refinance with little money out of your pocket. So essentially, we have a dedicated team that works with you from the start to the finish, as well as we really understand for folks that work at Ford or any of the other plants, like we know how it works. We know how to calculate your overtime. We also know that there are shutdowns, and we understand that, and we know how to run the numbers so that even if you're going through a shutdown, we're not going to say, oh, you can no longer get a mortgage. We get it. We understand how Ford works really well. So essentially, like working with us, you get a dedicated team that has got your back through the process to help you achieve home ownership. We also do for folks who currently have a mortgage. Right now, interest rates are at historic lows. I mean, right now, anyone who has a rate over 3% should be talking to us because rates are at historic lows where we can work with you on doing a no cost refinance, essentially where you can refinance your home and you don't have to bring any cash to the table. So we really want to help you. We also want to be a resource for folks who have questions. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you're struggling with some credit issues, I'm not a credit expert, but my team can help you kind of get on a plan. We also work with a credit repair service that gives discounts to UAW members as well. So, I mean, essentially, my mission is to help empower you with the tools you need to achieve homeownership and with as little money out of your pocket as possible, and to help you kind of get over any hurdles and challenges that there are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'm sure anybody can really enjoy getting money off when it comes to closing costs. Because I know when I bought my house, that was kind of a surprise. Oh God, why do I got to pay all this? And I understand today, but any way that you can get those costs down is great.
Yeah. So I think that, again, we want to emphasize that. I wanted to, maybe we can open it up and see if there are any questions right now. I know there's a few folks in here. We've got about 15 more minutes to take questions and answers. So I don't know, Jess, if we have any questions coming in. Folks can type your questions into the chat, and then we'll make sure that we answer them. Go from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys so much for sharing about that. So have some questions coming in. First one, what happens if I don't have any withholdings due to unemployment?
From this year, so yeah, a lot of people, especially around that, what was it, March, April, May, June time, there
Yeah.
was a lot of layoffs coming in, and some individuals opted to have tax withholding from that, and some did not. The people who did not may actually find themselves on the hook for a penalty, because the tax system is a pay-as-you-go system. So once your income limits reach a certain level, they want that income tax paid quarterly. So for the individuals who may run into that situation, we will be having a couple different options. One of them would be to just go ahead and pay the penalty if it was a small amount, maybe a couple $100s. If it gets a little bit higher, the penalties, may reach into several $100s. We can do a first-time penalty abatement to get rid of those penalty costs. But at the end of the day, the tax that you owe is still, you're still going to owe that tax.
Okay. Um, let's see, Caleb, a mortgage related question here for you. Is now a good time to buy? And what would be kind of my overall steps for obtaining a mortgage?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Now is a really good time to buy, and the reason being is that interest rates are at historic lows. And what that means is that when interest rates are this low, your buying power is even greater. Okay. So the real steps to buying a home is what we look at to pre-approve you is one, we look at your income. So what is considered qualifying income? Well, most of y'all that are part of the UAW have qualifying income. Okay. Now we do take into account there's some of the layoffs and shutdowns and things like that. We can't close on a loan during shutdown. We would need for you to be back to close on the loan, but we could start the process even while you're in the shutdown, okay? But one is qualifying income. Two, we're gonna look at your debts, your minimum monthly liabilities, credit card debt, your car note, and any other student loans, right? What we look at is how much you got coming in each month. That's your qualifying income. How much you got going out? That's your debt, and that's your debt to income ratio. So we look at that, okay? And then we look at your credit score. Credit scores are how you're graded on how you've been managing your debts. And then we look at source of down payment. So really, those are the four buckets: your income, your debts, your credit score, and your source of down payment. And we work with you on all four of those pieces to get those in order. So if all four are ready to go, you could buy today. If maybe you got to work on, maybe you have to work a little bit on a little bit of money for a down payment, or maybe you need to work on getting your credit score up, we'll work. So you reach out to us, and what I'll do is do a consultation with you and review those buckets with you to see where you're at and get you on a plan. Some are ready to go today. Some may take, till a few days later, it just depends. But the first step that you could do is make sure you reach out to us, and we'll get you started on the process and get you on a plan.
Okay. And then a question about refinancing. Does the process look similar as to buying, and what is the time frame for a refinance?
Good question. So as you can imagine, like rates are at historic lows, and so a lot of people are refinancing right now. It's almost like, remember when COVID hit and everyone was running to get toilet paper? Like it was like it's like kind of like it's crazy. So like because rates are so low, there is kind of a line, if you will. So it takes a little bit longer to close on a refinance than it would be on a purchase. So we're saying about 60 days to close on a refinance. So from start to finish. And again, that's because there's just a real long line of people. However, once you get in line, we're going to secure your rate so that you don't have to worry about it. We just want you to get in line. But the refinance, it's a similar thing. You have to still qualify for that mortgage. So we're going to look at your income, your debts, your credit score. You don't need a down payment, right? And often there are some closing costs that are in there, but we can get you credit for that. And then often what people do too is you'll just roll the cost in the loan rather than bringing any money to the table. It's a pretty smooth process. And for anyone interested in that, again, just reach out to me and we'll definitely do an analysis. You could send me just your current mortgage statement and I could look at it and tell you, if you could be saving money.
Okay, cool. The toilet paper line analogy is great. Very relevant.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, Brandon, federal stimulus checks, how are those handled?
Right. So I've been getting this question a ton. You know, the issues that people are having is, first, is it taxable? Second, I didn't get enough. Third, I got too much. So I got to send it back. The answer to the last one, thankfully, as of most recent information that we got from the IRS, they are not expecting that money to be paid back. So then we'll go backwards from that. And so the individuals who didn't get enough, basically just for this year, they built in a special form called the Recovery Rebate Credit Worksheet. Every single return that I file this year, we'll have to fill out that form for. And basically all it asks is two questions. Did you receive, it'll do a calculation based on your dependents and whether you're single or married. And then it'll say, did you get that amount? And if your answer is no, then it'll say, okay, what was the amount you received on the first payment? What was the amount you received on the second payment? And then, we'll put those amounts, whatever you received. And then if they don't equal the net amount, then they will just give you an additional credit on the tax return of whatever that amount is, and you'll receive it that way. And then lastly, people have been asking, oh, is this taxable? Well, no, it's not taxable. It's a tax credit. So the economic impact payments were essentially in advance on the recovery rebate credit. So no, not taxable, just a tax credit.
Okay, good. I think that helps clear up a lot of things there for people. I know there's a lot of questions swirling around that. Um, let's see, I believe another tax year question for you, Brandon, are work-related expenses still deductible?
Yeah, so a lot of people, especially last year when I had to start telling them, hey, those work boots that you paid $250 for, unfortunately, we can't take a deduction for those. That was a change in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which came through at the end of 2018, started being implemented in 2019. So unfortunately, all of those 2% reduction expenses that we used to take, that also includes tax preparation fees. That's no longer deductible. So yeah, employee work expenses are not deductible for individuals anymore. Only if you are the business owner. So if you have those expenses, I know a lot of us, we work under union contracts, and whatever the contract is what it is. But if you work for a smaller employer and you do have those expenses, I would do my best to ask the employer for a reimbursement, considering you are not getting the tax benefit, because they can still get it.
And then let's see, looks like one other question here regarding 401k withdrawals under the CARES Act. Could you provide a little clarity on that?
Sure. So the CARES Act allowed for people to take up to $100,000 out of 401ks, IRAs, other plans similar to those, penalty-free but not tax-free. So I advise any of my clients who have taken those or plan to take one to make sure that they have with federal withholding and state withholding taken out of that, because otherwise some of these withdrawals are in the tens of thousands, like I said, up to 100,000. And if you do not have the withholding taken out on that, you can be on the hook for a very, very steep tax liability. So they are penalty free, not tax free.
Okay, good point. Um, it looks like that is all the questions that we have floating in right now, but do you guys have anything else that you'd like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I'll say first, Brandon, if you could tell folks if they want to utilize your services, what is the best way to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me is to call my Google Voice number at 219-232-8008. You can also look me up on Facebook at South Shore Tax Solutions. Finally, on the web, my website is www.southshoretaxsolutions.com. There you can find about a dozen or so client reviews, all positive. Thank you to all of my clients who have reviewed for that. And finally, you can meet me at my office at 6195 Central Avenue in Portage, Indiana.
Awesome. And for us, you can reach out to us through also on Facebook, the Kambs Jennings group. And we also have a Facebook group that I encourage folks to join that's called Union Strong Mortgage for UAW members. I encourage you to join that because it's a place where we can share information. And you can also you can hit me up. You can call my cell phone 312-415-6109. And we'll send a follow-up email to folks too that are on here as well. And we'll share this presentation with you once we have it wrapped back up. So we want to thank you all for joining us. And I want to thank Brandon for partnering with me on this. It's awesome when we can kind of join forces to help the members out.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you. And Jessica, thank you as well for your help.
Yes, of course. Always happy to be here.
You good? Anything else?
Nope, that's it. I just want to say thanks to you as well, Caleb, for setting this up, and Jessica as well.
Awesome. All right. We'll talk soon. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys, for
Take care.
joining. Have a good evening.